Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 4 of Animation U. Today's guest is a professional cat parent, lover of pink things, and Zelda simp. Today we have Justyne Gurley.
Yo.
Now, the first thing that I should let everybody know is, you attend AAU, the Academy of Art University at San Francisco, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, are you, from the Bay Area?
No, I'm originally from Colorado.
Okay, so, this is actually just a personal question, but, have you caught yourself saying, hella more often?
Yes.
Okay, dude, I've been hanging around with, people from the Bay Area, and, I've caught myself saying it. When I first met them, I always made fun of them. It's all like, dude, what a goofy slang word, bro.
Yeah, no, it's my go-to word now, and it's bad.
Nah, it's hella cool now, bro. But now let's start off by saying or getting to know you at least. When did you start drawing, or where did your main inspirations come from?
Yeah, so I've always loved drawing, ever since I was a little kid, but I think I really started getting into it about 5th grade. Um, I had a friend who had a How to Draw Dragons book, and I was just became obsessed with drawing dragons. And then I looked at different concept art books after that, like Zelda and stuff. And yeah, then I just got obsessed with drawing characters and creating new characters and stuff, and it kind of spiraled from there.
Spiraled downwards in the path of an artist.
Yeah.
So you already mentioned it, but I was also wondering if you had any other inspirations besides The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot. Obviously Zelda's probably one of the biggest ones, but as far as animation goes too, it's kind of embarrassing, but My Little Pony was really big inspiration for me when I was a kid. I just loved the colors and stuff. Um, and then I guess in high school and stuff, there was Adventure Time, all those really popular shows that came popping up that were really artistically pretty and also good.
So yeah, so you said you grew up in Colorado, right?
Yeah, northern Colorado.
Oh, Northern Colorado. Okay, so how is things living there, and or at least the art scene in Colorado compared to say California?
Oof. Well, Colorado is really interesting because you do have a decent amount of artists, but I notice a lot of them are more interested in landscape painting or kind of more traditional versus California. You tend to get more of the entertainment industry type stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a common thing I've heard. I got people from Michigan or from India, the country, talking about they just always come to California because there's always usually more opportunities there. And besides New York and Georgia, those are the only other two I could really think of right now. But it's always people coming to California.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think there's just so much. There's a lot more jobs and there's a lot more opportunity out here.
But yeah, so was there a reason why you chose to attend your current school compared to the schools in Colorado?
Yeah, well, there's not really a lot of I guess art schools that really stood out to me in Colorado. There was an art institution, and I've heard really iffy things about institutions. So I was like, well, I don't really want to do that. And then the University of Northern Colorado had an art program, but I didn't want to have to take math and stuff. So when I found out about AAU, I was like, oh, sweet, I don't have to take math.
Oh, so AAU is it just focuses on art, you don't have to do general education and stuff like that?
Yeah, pretty much. It just and generally I think it has maybe some small couple classes. Haven't had to take them yet. But it's literally you'll have to take one class and that's it.
Oh. So you went to AAU straight out of high school, right?
Actually I took 2 years off. So I graduated high school in 2016 and I took a couple years off just kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do after high school. I was also homeschooled, so that made things a little bit trickier. So when I quote unquote graduated, I just kind of, I don't know, hung out around the house for a while until finally my dad was like, you need to do something.
You need to figure something out. So, I guess my next question would be, were there any other schools that you considered besides AAU?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of considered University of Northern Colorado just because it was close. I literally lived like 30 minutes away from there, so that would have been convenient. But I did not want to have to take math classes and stuff. I considered Cal Arts, but they're really expensive, and I was like, yeah, I don't have the money for that.
That seems to be the general consensus when I ask people about like they always mention CalArts and like its tuition, which I agree is quite insane.
Yeah, it's like 50 grand a year, which is
I hear it's up now.
it's more than that. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I'm hearing like people throwing numbers out like 70. Now I'm not sure if that's like room and board on top of tuition, but that's still like regardless, it is a crazy price point to go in at.
Yeah, that's insane. No wonder. And it's really hard to even get in the first place because you have to like fill out this giant sketchbook of work.
Oh yeah, it's super competitive.
Yeah. Well, and that just gives your answer right there. That's why I came here. It's
Hell
not
yeah.
at all.
So wait, so AU was the only college in California that you considered besides like CalArts?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do I didn't do a lot of looking.
That hey, it happens. So
Yeah.
so what did you find appealing about Academy of Art?
Well, part of it was just the I mean, it really just boils down to the fact that they weren't requiring any SATs or anything like that because like I said, I was homeschooled, so I never got to take those tests for free. So I was gonna have to like pay to take the test out of pocket and do all the studying and stuff for it. And I really did not want to do that. So when I found out they didn't require it, I was like, oh hell yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. So that was a huge motivation. But and then it was also just like hearing from like I talked to an administration advisor and they were like, oh yeah, like all the classes are taught by like actual industry professionals. They're not just like people who graduated from school and then went straight into teaching. Like they've been in the industry for a while and then they came here.
That that is important, and I know that's a problem with like a lot of schools. I think, especially in like animation programs across the country, that a lot of these people they haven't worked in the industry for a long time, and as you know, like it's a constantly changing industry that goes through crazy changes within the span of like maybe even 5 years. So having staff or like professors that were in the industry already or they're currently working in the industry is definitely a huge bonus and something to be considered when attending a university.
For sure. And that's like I would argue is like the best thing about the school is the instructors. I absolutely love them.
Did you want to like shout out any instructors? Is there anyone in particular that you found like really good?
Oh yeah. So my program is visual development. And of visual development, I really like Jeremy Saliba. He does like official, like I guess you could call it like official fan art for Lucasfilms. So he's like actually like endorsed by Lucasfilms to draw like Star Wars stuff. So he's super awesome and a great instructor.
Wow, a professional fan artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she one could dream, bro. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I know he's done some really big, cool projects. He's done like some concept work for the new Lord of the Rings show that is coming out in the fall. So that's also super cool.
Oh, sweet. Also, I have another question about like the way that the degree program is set up at Academy of Art.
Yeah.
So, is there? I know in a lot of public institutions, there's like a separation of the BA, which is just a plain Bachelor of Arts, which is a general art degree, and the
Right.
BFA, which is like a more focused degree, which is like usually it's categorized into different things. Like at least at my school, it's like focused into animation, visual development, yada yada yada, stuff like that. I was wondering if AU had offered the same thing.
Yeah, I think we have the BFA, and then you can do an associate's, so you can just do the 2 years, and then we also have master's programs.
Oh, master's program. Okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they do not offer like a 4 year degree in the form of a BA.
I don't think so. At least not that I'm aware of. I could be totally wrong and not know anything about that, but yeah, from what I'm not aware of any.
Okay. So the BA, or I'm sorry, the BFA would be a 4-year program. Am I correct?
Yeah, 4 years. Wow, 4 years if you're taking like 6 classes a semester and taking summer classes.
And
Um,
summer classes?
yeah, that's one
Oof.
thing I wish they were a little bit more transparent about when I registered, because when you think BFA 4 years, and then full time is 4 classes, so you think, okay, I'll get it done 4 years, but they don't really tell you that if you don't take like 6 classes at a time and take summer classes, you're not going to graduate within 4 years, and it'll be closer to like 5 years.
5 years. Oof. Okay, that is kind of
Yeah,
crazy. I do know the a BFA is common to be 5 years long, but I also know that it's like less, or there is no, usually there is no like summer class involvement, but
yeah.
yeah, so just like it would just be over generally the semester. How would you say like the workload was like over there?
Um, my first couple years was really tough. I think just because you're still learning how to draw, so it can be kind of overwhelming because they're teaching you like all the basics and stuff, and you have like these classes that you're drawing for like 24 hours for an assignment, and it's a bit intensive. But I think if it weren't so intensive, I wouldn't be at the level I am right now.
Oh, okay, so it's kind of like by having you work so much, it really did improve your work. You feel like
100%, yeah.
okay. So on top of that, you mentioned like the summer classes. How intense were those? Were they different? Because I know summer classes are generally more concentrated, so the workload is more intense in a shorter period of time.
Yeah, I've only taken one summer class, and I'll be 100% honest, I did not pass it.
It happens.
It was also an online class, and the way the online stuff is kind of set up is, I mean, I think this just in general, online classes tend to be harder than on-site classes because they like want to make you like do like busy work in a way to like make up for the in-class participation. So, on top of it being a summer class, which is condensed into 7 weeks instead of 15 weeks, it's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. It does sound kind of crazy, but yeah, I don't know. 7 week, oof, and then like they're already working you, so it's even harder. Because like the way you're describing it, it makes it sound like it's a very intense course of work that you're taking.
Yeah, especially a lot of the drawing classes. The language arts classes that you have to take, they're not so bad. They're just lots of writing and reading. Kind of depends on the class you do take. Like for example, I took a anthropology through film and photography class, which was super interesting, but also incredibly difficult because of just the films we would have to watch. They were like super, super long, and they would usually not be in, well, they would usually be in a different language. So for me, I couldn't just like put on earphones and listen to it. I had to like literally sit there for like 4 hours and actually watch the film.
And like you read all the subtitles, right?
Yep.
Oh man, yeah. My friend took a similar class of that. It was like he had to watch like a bunch of Swedish films. Like they were all art housey.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So moving on, I'd like to ask about any programs or extracurricular activities they had over there. Was there like an art club or anything that you found beneficial to your experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been difficult because of COVID. So a lot of things kind of closed down and haven't really reopened up again here. But prior to that, yeah, there were a lot of really fun art clubs that students put on. There was one club, I think it's actually a Bay Area club that a lot of students would participate in, but it's like the Drawaholics Anonymous, I think is what it's called. I never did it because I just don't have time to do it because you have to draw like 1,000 things in a year or something like that.
A
It's like,
thousand things.
yeah, it's a lot, and I was just like, yeah, I don't have time, but
Yeah, I'm already busy. I can't do this.
right, yeah, I do kind of wish I did do that because I feel like it would have been like beneficial because like I think at the end of the day to get better at drawing you just have to do a lot of it like and die inside a little bit, but
Just a little bit. to those
Just a
listening, they take a break every now and again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't have to always be dying.
Yeah, you don't have to always be dying.
Yeah, just occasionally.
You want to get better? Yeah, come on, put it up.
Yeah.
So, so there were no like in-house to say clubs like clubs that originated within the university.
Oh, there were like, your typical, like, I guess school, like, there's the anime club, there's the, whatever, I don't know, gamer club or whatever.
Gamer.
Yeah, those were always like stuff that I know people really enjoyed doing. I never participated in any of the clubs just because I don't know. I had my friend group, and I don't really need to do stuff outside of that. Um, Plus, the times were always just awkward with my schedule, so I just usually didn't have time to go to the clubs.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, you're like you said, it's already a big course load, and then you're doing like you mentioned, like before I started recording was like the RA stuff.
Right? Yeah. No. That on top of that, I started doing that my second year, so that really changed a lot of my workload after I
Yeah, I'm
started
I'm
doing.
sure it's just like even more work.
Yes, so much more.
Yeah. So could you talk about being an RA, like what it was like, the experience, like working with you probably. I'm not quite entirely sure how an RA works. Like, are you in direct communication with like the staff?
Yeah, so as an RA, you're like basically a part of the staff team in housing. Um, with AAU, they actually have a really sweet deal. They actually pay for your entire housing and your meal plan. I know that's not the case at other schools. So if you're an RA here, you get your all your housing and your meal plan just covered. They
That
cover that.
that's kind of huge, actually. That sounds like a really good deal.
It's a great deal, especially considering it's San Francisco. So
Oh
housing is
yeah.
in.
Wait,
So
so
yeah.
would it be? Is that like typically a competitive position that like I'm assuming a lot of people apply for that because like how could you not apply for that?
Yeah, it's pretty competitive from what I understand because I've had people be like, "I applied, but I didn't get it." I'm like, "Oh no, I'm sorry."
Anyways,
Yeah, it's definitely a great position, and I always recommend people who feel like they would enjoy it. I always recommend people like do it because it's 100% worth it.
oh yeah, for sure. Do you do you have any advice as an RA to anyone listening who is considering dorming at this school?
Yeah. So with this school in particular, I always recommend trying to go for an apartment style building just because they're just more comfortable in my opinion. You get to have your own kitchen. You don't have to pay for the meal plan, which in other dorms is required. So it can be kind of it saves you a lot of money actually. Granted, of course, the apartment style buildings are harder to get into because they're much more there's a lot more competition, but I always recommend trying to go for one. And then when first moving in, um, it's pretty, it's pretty generic. I feel like just as far as dorm length goes. So the only thing is just it's really interesting is if you're over 21, you still can't drink alcohol. So
Really?
that's yeah, it's a dry campus. So that's always something to keep in mind.
No alcohol.
No alcohol at all, even if you're like 34.
34.
I've had residents who are like, like my parents' age almost, and they come and they're like, "What?
Why
What?
not?
What?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry." Sorry.
Okay, so honestly, if I'm gonna be completely honest, I already know people sneak them in.
Oh yeah,
Like, yeah, yeah, no,
yeah.
no shot they don't sneak them in.
Oh yeah. No, and that's what I always just tell people. I'm just like, if you're gonna sneak it in, don't be stupid. That's all I ask.
Don't be. Have you ever had like an instance where somebody did something like really funny, or like kind of
Yeah.
stupid?
Well, I mean, it's just always funny. Like when we do the health and safety inspections, we have to do this once a month. We go in a room and literally they'll just have like a bottle of wine on the counter right in the open. I'm just like, really, dude, what were you thinking?
Oh, I forgot it was there.
Hey.
Or like, it's not mine.
You're right. Like, you're the only one who lives here. What do you mean?
So somebody just left it in here. I swear, it wasn't me.
They just broke in and they put that there. Yep. True story.
You know, I know being an RA probably has like, did besides like somebody just leaving out a bottle of wine. Is there like any other like you have any other interesting stories about being an RA, like of stuff that happened within the dorm?
Mm, gosh. It's always tricky because, like, obviously there's a lot of stuff that I'm not, like, allowed to talk about, because, you don't wanna divulge people's private
Oh yeah,
situation.
true, true.
But there's also, I don't know, I think it's just always funny the drama that goes on with RAs. That's the funny part for me, is just, like, the in-house drama. It's hilarious, is, like,
Oh,
who's
in-house drama.
like, "Oh my god, I can't believe Stacy slept with Nathan," or whatever. It's so ridiculous, and it's just like I think for me especially because I didn't go to high school, this is like very entertaining because I didn't get that experience.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were homeschooled.
Right. Yeah.
You get a little taste of high school through being an RA. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, did you take any third-party supplementation classes during your time there, or you're still there, but like, did you take any extra classes? Like, have you ever heard of Schoolism or Brainstorm?
I've heard of them and I've actually considered trying to look into them because I've heard some like really good things about like taking that kind of stuff and it kind of puts you at the top, beyond what other students are capable of. I haven't taken any, but I've heard a lot of people suggest taking them.
Oh yeah, I talked about this before, but it does seem like people are doing even more than like their college curriculum just to get that edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I,
it's definitely a lot of cool stuff that they're offering over there.
oh yeah. I mean, it's amazing that you can just get these like courses and stuff. You don't have to like worry about taking out like student loans and all that like crap and like how just exhausting the process can be to like even just like take an elective.
Oh yeah,
So super cool that you can just like take these classes outside.
yeah, it's definitely like even I've thought about doing it, but I've never done it. It does seem really cool though. But
Yeah.
moving on, I did want to ask about kind of the social scene over there at AAU. Now it's located in what is it, downtown San Francisco, or is it like in the middle of San Francisco?
It's like literally in the middle of San Francisco.
Okay, so I was gonna ask like what is there to do over there? Like what's the what like is it fun? Is it kind of boring? Is it a college? Well, obviously it's not just a college town. It's like one of the biggest cities in California. But like, do you ever find yourself bored being within that city?
No. I mean, I might say I could get bored just because I don't feel like leaving my room, but if I were to even just like walk down the street, no matter what, you'll see something entertaining. It's a pretty lively city.
That's good. I
Yeah,
I haven't been there in a while, but there's always something going on.
100%. It's always interesting. There's always like, some sort of event you can go to and even if there's not something going on, there's just, it's fun to walk around, look at all the cool like old buildings and do all like the fun touristy things. I always like doing that.
Yeah, like I remember. Oh God, I can't remember the Bart. I remember I rode the Bart. It's such an I feel like it's such a charming part of San Francisco, and everybody loves it.
Yeah, well, if you mean the BART or like the actual cable cars.
I'm talking about the BART, the public transportation, the one that goes underground and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of public transportation, so maybe that's just me.
Hey, it's fair, dude. Like one time, my friend, he was um he was riding a bus in LA, and then like the bus driver started fighting this drunk guy. It was great. So public
God.
transportation is like it's good. It Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
This is a pro public transportation video series podcast thing, okay? But like, yeah, go take your public transportation. But I'm just saying, like, it's a very interesting form of transportation.
It is. It is very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'll take like the bus sometimes, and I will take the BART. I just don't like going on it alone because I don't know. I also
That's
get
fair. That's
lost,
fair.
so that doesn't help.
Oh, like
I'm
you
one,
you get easily lost.
yes,
Oh,
100%. I'm like Zoro from One Piece.
ah, get an anime reference. Wait, so would you? How long have you been living in San Francisco?
So I started school here in 2018. So this would well, next fall will be starting my fourth year. Or no, my fifth year.
Oh
Shoot.
shoot. So that's like one more year until you graduate, right?
Yeah, I have a year and a half. The half part is to make for up for like a couple classes that did not pass, so I have to retake them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay.
They were hard, so that's why I just didn't have any interest in them, so I didn't have the motivation.
Wait, could you say that again? I think you cut
They
out.
weren't they weren't art classes. They were the LA classes, and so I didn't have as much motivation to do them, and so that's why I didn't pass them because I was like, they're boring. So I didn't
Ah,
really.
okay. The language art class.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. So coming back to like the social scene at AAU, did you feel included at your school, or like did you in any way did you feel like you stood out?
No, it's very inclusive here. It's also really fun because most people, at least there's a good chunk of people who will be interested in the same thing you are. Because like my major is visual development, which kind of encompasses, like gaming and animation, and just kind of like overall film. So anybody within any of those like interests, you're gonna have something in common with, which is like makes it pretty easy to make friends.
That's good. I know like a big issue with like going, especially like those who are not local, I guess, is like making friends, and I know it can be really difficult for people attending a university as freshmen. But I know like having a good like friend group is always good, especially within like an animation university where like networking is a pretty big deal. But it's also you should also just be friends with people just to be friends with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I have a lot of friends from all sorts of different majors. I have a lot of friends actually in stop motion animation, who are doing that kind of stuff. So that got me more interested in that. Like prior to that, I was like, I mean, I like the movies and stuff, but I wouldn't consider, doing anything for stop mo. But because I've, talked to them and stuff, I've got a lot more interested in it. And that's been something that's become like almost like a hobby for me to like just kind of work with them with that, with like concept art and just even like doing some like small fabrication things. It's been really fun.
Oh yeah, I mean stop motion is such a charming like medium. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
it's
love like
super.
the little texture in it and like the ability for like Leica. They do a great job of in their films.
Yeah, Leica. I mean, obviously they're like the top tier. They're the gods of stop mo.
The gods, yeah.
There's so much being done with stop motion that it's always amazing to me what people can create. I'm actually working on a like a collab project that our school puts on. It's called Studio X, and so we have like these like it's actually like a legit studio, but they have students working on different stuff and different projects. So the Studio X that I decided to pick was the stop motion one because we have stop motion, we have film, we have 3D animation and 2D animation. I just felt like doing stop mo.
Oh, so there's like it's like a studio that the university runs.
Yeah,
So it's
and
called
you can like
Studio
work.
X.
Yeah, yeah. They've worked on some like other little projects. I mean, they've had some little things that have won little awards and stuff. It's pretty cool. The one I'm working on is really interesting. It's like a kind of creepy and kind of cool, which works really well with the stop motion stuff. So I'm really excited for that one to be completed. We've only had one semester to work on it, so I'm going to continue working on it in the fall. So hopefully we can get it done then. If not, we'll finish it in the spring.
Oh yeah, I mean it sounds cool, but I'm very interested in that. Like I've never heard of of a university having their own like little studio. So do they pay you, or like is this just for credits?
It's just for credit. So it's like a regular class you would take, which is like, a regular 3 credit course. Um, and you basically learn on the job. Like you get to like be in person learning, working with other artists who aren't in your specific major, but like in the pipeline of what you're working on. So you get to like figure out, okay, this is how this works. This is how to work with other artists. This is how to compromise. It's really great.
Yeah, that's cool. I think because I believe like whatever, if you're going to a school for animation, there should be some way for you to experience the pipeline, whether that be like you said, like if it's produced by the university itself or within a club, that everybody should have some experience of the pipeline, because collaboration is such an important thing within this industry.
Yeah, 100%. Um, I know that I mean, I'd probably be fine personally if I hadn't taken this class, but I feel like it can be super useful for people in general because when I first got my job, I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, and then I feel like it was probably a little annoying for my boss
Oh,
because
you're like emailing them like, hey, is this right? Is this right?
yeah, and she was like, just do it. And I'm like, I don't know.
But I don't know if I can. Yeah.
Yeah. Although she wasn't mean about it. She was super, super nice. She was really patient. I'm glad.
Okay, so going back into, I guess I guess we're gonna talk about it just a little bit longer. The social scene. How like did you have a big class?
Um, yes and no. Before COVID, yes.
Oh, okay. So
So
you're graduating roughly 23.
yes.
Okay. So did also was there like a lot of retention within that class? Like, did you take classes with these people that you're graduating with like way back in 2018?
Yeah, well, most of them, yes. I know a lot of them took a break because of COVID, so they might not graduate until after me now. Other ones have graduated before me already because they like sped ran through it. I was like actually surprised. I was like, "How are you graduating now?" But yeah, I mean, people go at their own pace, of course. My department itself, visual development, is pretty popular, so it tends to have a pretty big group of graduates.
Okay. Yeah, I know like Anna, who I interviewed previously, she said that her graduating class was only 16 people, which is kind of
Oh
like,
god.
I know, and they ended up, it was very good actually because they were like super close knit. Shout out to Anna if you're listening to this. But would you say like your class was more than 16, more than 16? I'm assuming.
I would definitely say more than 16. Um, probably I wouldn't even be able to guess.
Okay, so I'm gonna assume it's kind of like on the bigger side then.
Bigger. It was not like huge, not in the hundreds, but definitely
5,000 students graduating in 23.
yes, in my specific major. Um, probably closer to like maybe 50.
50. Okay, that's a decent size.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to ask was about like the student atmosphere in your major, at least. Did it feel competitive, or did you feel like it was very supportive?
Kind of a little bit of both. I think you get like the people who are like, I'm here to win, and you're like, oh geez, okay, dude, chill. Um,
Oh yeah, dude, we I hear that all the time, and it's so like, come on, it's kind of cringy, bro. Like
yeah,
chill out.
you're like, okay, we're all just here to draw and support each other. Most people are super supportive. If you ask for a critique, they're not going to be like, this sucks. And you're like, okay, well, thanks. They're going to give you an actual, like, helpful critique, and they might even want one in return. At least I know that's how I like it. I like to be like, oh, well, I'll give you a critique if you critique my work. Please help me.
Please help.
Yes, all the help I need it.
That's good. It does make me happy to hear that. most institutions so far that I've heard is all like, yeah, it's everyone's supportive, like we're rooting for each other, and like, but there's always like that one guy, there's that one outlier. I was wondering if you had like any personal experience, like where somebody was just like after you, or like what's it called, like competing with you specifically, or you felt that they were trying to compete with you.
Not particularly, but I have noticed that there'd be like certain people who are like harder on my art than others. Like a lot of people would just be like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good," and then other people would be like, "Yeah, it's okay." You know,
Mid.
I do better. I'm like, "Oh wow, okay, thanks for the encouragement."
that that's a crazy critique. Do better.
Yeah, wow,
That's
thanks.
kind of wild. And then, lastly, I wanted to ask for you: did you find making friends was easier or harder? Did you feel like people were kind of closed off?
um, I mean, I personally have always been really good at making friends. I don't typically struggle in that department. I mean, that's partially why I became an RA is because I'm outgoing and I'm pretty friendly talking to people. Um, Keeping friendships, too. I found that it's pretty easy to stay in contact with people to be able to like just through classes is how I've actually met most of my friends is by taking like one class and be like, "Hey, you're in my other class. Let's eat lunch together."
Yeah, let's go grab some lunch. Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah, I wouldn't I mean, it's obviously personal um, person by person basis, but for me personally, no, I haven't had any trouble at all making friends.
Sweet. Hey, good for you. But do you have any like advice to like somebody who's struggling making friends and like attending your university at all?
Oh, yeah, for sure. If RAs put on programs in your dorm, go to them. I highly recommend going to the programs the RAs put on, just because, I mean, one, the RAs put a lot of work into putting these on, and not having anyone show up is really discouraging. But also, if you have like, you know, even only if there's like four people that show up to the program, and the program is like, I don't know, we're gonna paint smiley faces on our cheeks. You'll meet people, and it's really fun.
Yeah, like what are some events that you held as an RA?
Oh, my programs. Let's see. I had one program where I had people make like homemade face masks with like honey and like rosemary and like natural things. It was
Oh, okay. When you said face masks, I was thinking like those, like the COVID surgical masks.
no,
And I was like, does that block the COVID? Like, you like sticking it up your nose? What's going on here?
no. It was pre-COVID too. It was like like the spa masks or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
That was fun. It was very messy though, so I don't think I'll do that one again.
And then the ants came. It was so bad. It was.
Yeah, it was not a good idea, but it was fun, and I think the people really had a good time
That does sound like a
doing.
good time though.
Yeah, yeah. I've also had it was during Thanksgiving. I was like, for people not going home and a lot of like international students, do you guys want to do like a mock like Friendsgiving dinner? And so I did like a program where we just like did like a big old potluck. It was super fun.
Yeah. So, to anybody listening or incoming freshman to AU, go to your RA's things. Do it.
I highly recommend it.
So another thing that I'd like to touch on is your current job, and if you feel that your university had played a major part, and like if they've prepared you enough to get that job.
Yeah, 100%. I would not have the job I have now without coming to school. Like certainly my art level wouldn't be good enough, but also my knowledge on just like the animation pipeline or how to build a portfolio or any of that, I just wouldn't have been nearly as professional as I was able to make it to get hired.
Yeah, I was hoping if you could go like a little more in depth in like how you got that job,
Yeah, so
if the NDA permits it, of course. I don't want to get
oh,
nobody in trouble.
I can tell. Yeah, that's definitely not part of NDA. I do background art for a show called Helluva Boss. It's on YouTube.
Go
It's
stream
like an
Helluva
adult
Boss.
animated. It's really fun. It's a great show. I love it. Everybody who works on it is like insanely talented. I feel like I feel super honored to be able to be on the team at all because everyone else is just like super good. I'm like, how am I
Nah,
here?
don't stop.
But
I've seen your
I mean,
stuff. You're also great. Come on now.
well, thank you. But
Hmm.
but yeah, well, and the way I was able to get the job, I think, is because of being in school and having that knowledge of how to build a website and how to make a cover letter and basically be professional over other applicants that might not be quite as well put together. So I think that really helped. Um, I I found the job on Twitter of all places.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I think a lot of studios and like small time like projects and stuff are putting job applications on Twitter these days. Twitter is a really great place to follow different like companies, different studios on there because you know they might post job applications on there and you can grab them from there versus like LinkedIn or even like just Google or whatever.
Yeah, that is something I've been noticing a lot actually. Is like the recruiters are actually really active on Twitter. Like for example, I know Avatar Studios. They just announced their 3 films. I remember they were recruiting storyboard artists like on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's super super cool and always something to keep in mind when you're looking for a job is just like yeah Twitter have a like you don't even need to like have a following or even like post stuff like I post like maybe like once a year on Twitter. um I just lurk and occasionally like look around because I don't really know how to use Twitter. It's confusing.
It's- that's fair. I mean, I feel like Twitter is like super casual, like the most casual social media. Like you just post whenever and where how much you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never quite gotten the gist of it or understood it. I understand Instagram. I can handle that, but Twitter is like I don't know. It confuses me.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, no, I think without the school, I mean, it could be obviously any school. I think that just like teaches art, but I think in particular with my style of learning, this school has been very helpful for me. Art wise, especially just learning foundations and learning how to get better at making things look like they should belong on the paper. It looks
Make it look like yeah, I feel that.
so yeah, no, I really attribute a lot of my I guess success to coming here to school and it's been really great.
That's great. But I wanted to also ask, do you do layout or paint?
So actually both.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, so I mean they give you the option to do either or of course, but I like doing both because I'm like I want to be able to say the entire thing. And
This
you're
is
like, oh,
mine.
yeah, I just did the lines on that and I didn't color it or whatever. I did it all. That's mine. I did that
That's
drawing.
me.
Yeah. So I'm excited, especially for because I got hired on at the end of 2020. So I haven't been able to see a episode release yet. Because all the stuff I've done is for season 2. So I'm waiting until that drops. Vivzy made an announcement that season 2 should be dropping July, I think 30th, she said. I think that's what she said on Twitter.
Oh,
So
shoot.
that's yeah, I'm super excited about that. Have my name in the credits.
Yeah, something light, something light.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah, you hear that July 30th, keep an eye out for Justyne Gurley, bro.
somewhere in there buried.
Background, layout, and paint.
Yeah.
A little bit of both. But one thing I do have to ask is, do you feel that I know you attribute a lot to your school, but do you feel like your success within this is unique to you, or do you feel like everybody around you is kind of succeeding similarly?
Um, I mean, I know I'm definitely the only person I know who has Actually, that's not true. I do know one other person who has a job and she's still in school. I think too, though, is that I've been actively looking for jobs in the industry while still in school. So I think that makes a difference. Whereas, like, a lot of my friends and stuff, they're like, oh, I haven't even like thought about a job yet, you know?
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm like, okay, even though you're graduating next year, damn, okay. Um, I think, obviously that active searching while you're in school is super helpful. And then just drawing a lot for me is been really helpful. Just drawing like, I don't know, stupid doodles all the time of my like dumb characters and dumb facial expressions.
Just trying some don't care. Hell yeah.
Lots of doodles and stuff have like helped me. Obviously the school assignments are super helpful because they're the ones that get you drawing like all the thumbnails. Like I had one class, it was advanced perspective, and I had to draw over 100 thumbnails, and that was a lot.
Oh no, like I struggled with like three, dude. It's that 100. Are you kidding me? It sounds crazy.
Yep, it was you always feel like after like 20 you're like I can't think of any more ideas. I'm
You know
my
what? That
idea
is true. That's true.
like I can't think of any more ideas for this specific scene and these characters to be in. And I- there's only so many ways you can do that. But 100, it was um it was a lot, but I think doing that kind of taught me like I was like, okay, this is the max. This is the extreme. And considering I was able to handle that, I can handle anything.
That is true. Like, I bet you. Oh my god, it's still racking my brain. I'm thinking like, how do you think of 100 variations of one thing? That
I mean,
it's crazy.
it was like 100 variations of like a few different things. So like,
Okay.
yeah, I think for the assignment we had to do like different versions of perspective. Like you have to do it from like a high place with the horizon line like below the knee or something like that, and then you have to do another one with the horizon line above the main figure's head or whatever. And I think there were like 10 of them. Yeah, so it was really only 10 thumbnails for 10 different ideas.
Oh, okay. Instead of
Yeah,
100 different thumbnails for one idea.
yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah,
when
that makes it seem a little more feasible, I guess.
it is, I mean,
Still difficult though.
yeah, and to do in a week is a lot.
Oh, we okay. Now it's getting harder and harder the more you talk about. It. I was like, God damn.
I mean, but advanced perspective is that one class that everyone, will always be like, "Oh yeah, that's the hard class," So, that's the hard class at AAU is advanced perspective, but it's also one of the most helpful classes. So,
Yeah, true. And you got out of that class a lot stronger for it, right?
oh, 100%. I took that class fall of last year, and it was while I was still like I was currently, doing work for Helluva at the time, and I recently got like a message from my boss. She's like, "You've improved so much since I've known you." I'm like, "Oh,
Oh, that's sweet.
yeah." Just they're so nice. Everybody on the team is great,
You want to
but
give them a quick shout out?
I
You want to give
digress.
a quick shout out to your boss real quick?
Hell yeah. All my teammates, all everybody, my bosses and stuff on Helluva, like shout out to Amanda and Savannah and Sam. They're super amazing, super great. Would not be here without them.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah.
My last question would be: do you have any advice for anybody considering this school, or like, yeah, just like any general advice? Like, would you even like recommend this school?
Yeah. I mean, everybody obviously has their own style of learning. So if you do well in a high pressure environment, then AU is great. If that kind of stuff is overwhelming, if it's like too much and you feel like that would just be like anxiety saying you wouldn't be able to get anything done in that kind of environment, that I don't necessarily recommend it just because of the amount of workload. Um I personally do well in high pressure situations like that. I it makes me want to do better. It makes me want to like I guess I would say I'm kind of competitive in that sense, like not against other people, but against myself. You know, I want to be the best I can be. So I think that that works for me. I think also too, uh, budgeting is really important to understand when coming to San Francisco in particular. San Francisco is an incredibly expensive city. So it's really important to have a budget kind of laid out, or else you're just going to find yourself with like no money all the time.
Yeah, that's some really good advice actually. Definitely because it's in San Francisco, it's one of the most expensive like cities to live in within the United States. On top of like going to school and like paying a tuition, it's definitely be sure to. I mean, this is like plainly just for like any institution. Be sure to have like your financials in check.
100%. Yeah. I think I, my first year, man, I struggled. I was, I was always down to like $10 in my wallet constantly.
God
And
damn.
it
God damn.
goes, never again. I will never let myself get,
You
it
ever
was
make any
awful.
you ever make any struggle meals?
Yes. Oh my God. I have made, let's see, what did I make one time? Oh, it was I would do just like sourdough bread, and I would buy like a tub of mayonnaise. That's disgusting. Don't do this. I would buy like a tub of mayonnaise, and I would take the sourdough bread and just dip it in it, and that
Oh my like oh my wait, so you just take like a slice of sourdough and dip it in mayonnaise and eat that?
uh-huh. Yep.
Damn.
Disgusting. Freshman year, man.
And then it's like after that it's like damn, I really need to get my financials in check.
Yeah. After that, I was like, okay, never again. Because I think that was before I was an RA, so I did have a meal plan, but I was
Oh.
only doing. There's like there's different types of meal plans you can get, and they like limit the amount of meals you can have per week. um I think I was on like the cheapest meal plan because I was like, I don't want to spend a lot of money and I don't need that many meals, so I was on like, it was like 10 meals a week, I think. Yeah, that's what it was 10 meals a week. So that was a bad idea. Because then you don't get 2 meals a day every day. And then I was like, some days a week I didn't have anything to eat. And
Damn.
that was horrible.
That sounds like really scary actually. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, it was a bad idea. So that's another thing I recommend to new students. Don't get the silver meal plan, get the gold one.
Yeah, get your meals in, king.
Yes, get the gold meal plan, gives you 2 meals a day every day. So that's 14 meals a week. That one is perfect because I personally don't eat breakfast. So I didn't need 3 meals a day every day. The platinum plan, that's what you get, the 3 meals a day every day, and it was too much. I never used them all.
Also, I just want to let you know that I don't know when, but at some point I will be trying the sourdough and mayonnaise thing.
Oh my god. Well, good luck.
Yeah, I kind of want to try it now. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was that bad. I haven't tried it since then because like it sounds disgusting in my head now. I'm like, why would I do that? But I don't think it was that bad. Like I know some people have some pretty disgusting struggle meals, so
Hey, I mean, yeah, I don't even know. That's it's definitely a unique one. I've never heard of that. Cause like typically it's like like the instant like the ramen noodles. You know what I mean?
right. Well, I mean that's always on there, but that was my go-to.
the the mayo sourdough.
I mean, to be fair, San Francisco is known for their sourdough, so we do have some pretty good sourdough.
Okay, okay. At least the sourdough was high quality.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was just like regular, like I don't know, like Heinz or whatever.
That's fine. Okay, well, I think that's all. So I want to thank Justine for coming on, and I want to thank you, the listener. If to anyone listening, I'd like to thank you for giving us your time and listening to Justine.
Yeah, thank you for putting up with my rambling.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.